You are now? Okay, now we'll do some workout. So walk to the other room and we have some quick announcements and some more mementos to give. I promise this is the last one. Okay, so it won't take much of your time, just 5 minutes more and don't sleep. Okay, thank you. And you did not eat much to sleep. So next we have architecting information experience through videos, and it will be presented by Ayan Banerjee and Prasad from Juniper. So huge round of applause from them. Thank you.
Hi all, welcome to this session of architecting information experience through video. I am Prasad and he is my colleague Ayan Banerjee. So before starting this session, I would like to have a quick poll. How many of you are into video creation or making? Okay, wow, that is a good number. So we would like to share whatever experience we have so far, and of course we'd like to collaborate afterwards to know what your views or experiences are. So let's get started. This is the agenda of today's session. We'll see some of the video usage statistics and facts, followed by why we, that is Juniper Networks information experience teams, moved into video. Then we'll see some of the implementation steps that we followed by some live samples, good practices, results, challenges and references. So these are some of the video usage statistics published recently on YouTube. 1 billion new visitors are visiting YouTube every month. More than 61 countries are consuming YouTube videos in more than 61 different languages. 100 hours of video is uploaded on YouTube every minute. 1 billion daily views on mobile devices. 6 billion hours of video watched per month. That is as good as every person on this earth watching a video for an hour. Finally, the daily subscription has increased 4 times than that of the last year. So these statistics clearly make us understand why most of the organizations are slowly using video as one of their delivery mechanism. Now let's see why we, that is Juniper Networks information experience team, selected video and added into our portfolio. First trigger was demand from the customers. We have various channels through which we kind of interact with our customers. So one such channel was a customer advisory board in which our key customers participate in the discussion, and it was kind of feedback from them to include video as one of our delivery mechanism. Also we have the customer support team, so they were also requesting us to kind of include video into our portfolio so that it can give them the hands-on experience. Next thing is the high bandwidth availability to view videos. Nowadays you can download any movie within less than 3 minutes, and normal home users can have a speed up to say 40 to 60 Mbps. Next thing is easy access and availability. Thanks to the latest technologies like Wi-Fi, 3G and LTE, you can access video easily wherever you are. And finally, the most important thing, faster learning and better understanding of the products and features. So these were some of the key things that made us decide why we should include video into our portfolio. And of course we wanted to avoid this. We didn't want our users to get engrossed in the documentation, so we wanted to give some kind of flavor in terms of video. Now let us see some of the implementation steps that we followed. First thing is to identify information that can be converted into videos, followed by identifying topic types that can be good candidate for videos. So there is a slight difference between step 1 and step 2. Step 1 suggests find out the information or product or feature that you want to create or come up a video with. Second step says Identify what kind of information you want to create a video for, something like concept, task, reference or example. Then prioritize the video into must have and good to have. Must to have will be prioritized first, and good to have, depending on the time and resources you have, you'll take a call. Next step was to identify the medium, whether we'll be doing the actual shooting, or we'll be using animated video, or we'll do the screen recording. Next step is to create the video. This includes your video editing, adding audio, compiling it and publishing it, or coming up with a proper format. Then get it reviewed, and finally publish on a suitable channel like YouTube, or if you have your own database, you can publish there. Now let us see these steps in detail. So as I said, we need to identify candidate for a video. So what kind of topic that you will convert into a video? Is it a concept, task, example or reference? Any guesses? What kind of task? Okay. Concept. Okay. In fact, all of them can be converted into video. Let's see how. So this is something that was prepared by our IA team. So we came up with this chart which has topic type followed by subtopic type and the video recommendation, whether video is required for it or not. So last column has 4 main values. First says yes high, that indicates video is a best fit. Next is yes medium, that means video is a good fit. Yes low, video is occasionally required. No, video is not required. So as you can see from this chart clearly, task and the example, as some of you pointed, are the main topic types for which video is generally recommended, followed by reference such as reference safety or the concept kind of topic, and rest all depending on the context you need to decide. Okay, so we decided the subject, we decided what kind of video you want to create. Now next step is to decide what kind of video you'll be doing, whether it is an actual shooting, screen recording or an animated video. So actual shooting is recommended for things which involve mainly the physical equipments like hardware, and you want to show some procedures or examples. Screen recording is good for some GUI events or screen events, or you want to show some verification part as part of your display. And animated video are good for showing any concepts or processes or how something is working. It doesn't mean that you have to use any one of these medium exclusively. You can do mix and match. For example, there might be a task which requires connecting your hardware, and then finally how the installation is there you want to verify. So that time we'll be using actual video shooting as well as the screen recording. Now I'll request my colleague Ayan to show us some live samples and good practices involved in video creation.
Thanks, Prasad. We'll be viewing some live samples, but there will not be much talking from my side, so we'll be just showing the documentation which is available in the text format and also the video. So it's done to give a different perspective to the viewer. Like if you just come out of a meeting, you had a cup of coffee, you don't want to go into the text detail, but it's a new thing you want to know. So how about a video? It doesn't interrupt. You're still taking a break, watching the video, and but you're getting something. So if you want more information, you can always go back and check the doc. So we'll just check it, the actual documentation for the doc, and we have a related video which is made for the product. We'll be showing a couple of different videos, then we'll be going into the detail much for all of us. Like when we first pick up our camera and decided to make a video till today, it's been a journey. We are learning every day, and there will be some things that we will share today. There will be some things we will come to know from you, and so that's about it. this is a new concept which it's fairly complex if you can watch. So we decided to give it a try. We couldn't have a live shooting video where we actually carry the camera in our shoulders or put in there. So we decided to go in for an animated video as such. This is available at the website. It's the product documentation.
So this is the topic that Ion was explaining.
When ingress over subscription occurs at router B, some packets are dropped by router B. This happens because the packet forwarding engine of router B is programmed with fixed rules to handle ingress over subscription. Based on these rules, the packet forwarding engine of router B classifies the packets into network control and best effort traffic to be forwarded. For example, during approach introduced in Junos OS release 14.2 for handling ingress over subscription on T4000 routers with Type 5 PCs. You can define a traffic class map by associating the class of service code points of the incoming packets with the traffic class such as real-time, network control, or best effort. The network control and real-time packets have higher priority than the best. The router interface uses this user-defined traffic class map router's interface during ingress over subscription. The interface uses the user-defined traffic class map to select the priority and forwards or drops the packets. In this example, the router forwards the voice packet with code points mapped to the real-time traffic class and drops the data packet with code points mapped to the best effort traffic class. This is because the real-time packets have higher priority than the best effort packets. Thus, the user-defined traffic class map can be used to select packet priority during ingress over subscription.
This was done to facilitate the viewer to get an additional perspective of the product. So it's a complex product, so we have a small video to explain how the packets are being handled here. This is another live sample where we did get the chance to carry our cameras and enter the lab and get the photography done. This video will showcase two parts. One is the actual live shooting, and we'll have the screen capturing at the end. We'll be coming into more details in the following slides.
0 and 1. These ports are used for the data plane connection between CSE 2000 and PTX 5000 network. Port XGE2 of control port CB1 in PTX 5000. Similarly, for the second service card in slot 1 of CSE 2000, connect the cable to port 0 and then connect the other end to port XGE3 of control port CB0. Then connect the cable in port 1 and the other end to port XGE3 of control port CB1.
This is our screen capturing part which we are talking about.
See hardware command from the PTX 5000 output. The service cards of CSE 2000 as highlighted are displayed as ESE0 and ESE1.
So basically we covered all the three types of video. What we did is actually carrying the camera and do a live shooting. Am I audible? No? No? Like this? Okay. 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 So we have some standards to cover here. So we chose the size 720p, though we'll get an opinion that why it's not 1080p. That's depending on the recording equipment. We tried a lot of recording equipment, from SLRs to handycams to normal digicams, coming down to mobile phones. So we found out like many of the like older generation devices didn't have the 1080p capability. So we stuck to 720p, but it's free, it's flexible, it can go up to any length. This is the audio. It's only to maintain a consistency across the teams, but 96 kbps is little low in today's standards. But anyway, it normal viewing, it doesn't make a large difference, so you can change it. This is the video format we generally use, nothing to explain actually. This is our official Juniper channel. We can all come to just go and. This is our YouTube channel where the videos that we created and from the other teams are collaborated. Currently we are using YouTube as our medium of publication. Okay, fun part. We'll be sharing some good practices, but before starting on that, I just wanted to, like, it's been a journey for all of us. So the day we started till today, we learned a lot of things. Some we learned easy way, some a real hard way. So we cannot say it's good practice for everybody. It has been a learning for us. We'll just share those experiences with you. Maybe we'll get some good ideas to carry forward on that. So with software. So even before you plan to make a video, the first part is you need a video editor. So depending on your project, you can try some trialware, sharewares, going from video editors from big companies. That's up to you. But the point here is a fully functional video editor. What do you mean by fully functional video editor? You need to, before you go in, purchase a license for a video editor or pick up a trial shareware from internet, you need to know what are the capabilities of the tool, what you are trying to achieve. If you are trying to achieve a low light scenario in a lab, you know, you've been there in the lab 300 times, you know, like you'll be shooting something which is, it's a dark colored object and there's not much of light. So you need to, like, you will be searching for a tool which has good light adjustment, so you can tweak your video like that. So there are thousands of tools. You need to just go and play around with it and get something which you are comfortable. Some tools are extremely good, but it has a steep learning curve. So if your time is short or you are focusing on a specific type of video, you need to pick and choose from there. Okay, know the capabilities of the recording equipment. So not only the video software, you can use a DSLR, you can use a handycam, you can use a mobile phone. We'll be showing them. So while using it, you need to know what are the capabilities, what are the strengths of the recording equipment and of your tool. What your recording equipment can't achieve, you have to manage that in the tool. If the tool, you are very comfortable with tool, you can manage with little deviated video. Light is not okay, hand shaking, you can manage in the tool. So that's about it. That's for actual shooting. When you're going for animation, there are still thousands of tools available in the internet. You can just Google around with that. You can start with the basic, our PowerPoint. We cannot say basic because we really created some good animated videos out of it. But if you are already using some tools, you can continue with that. There will be some scenarios where it's virtually impossible to go for a live shooting. So you have to stick to animations for that. While using screen recording software, use the recommended theme and resolution. If you are using Windows and you have a holiday wallpaper of Switzerland, please don't use that because you never know. You are sure that your background will not show up, but it might. So it's nothing wrong, but we prefer something like an universal theme. You can use the default Windows background, default Mac background, change the theme to the original settings, default resolution, and take a screen recording of that. While using test or development setup, ensure that the output doesn't show internal details. This is somewhat important for us because we were connecting to a device through a terminal, and there were 4 fan trays for the product, and one team were testing fan tray 3. So it was intentionally powered down. But when you issued a command to check the fan tray status, it showed fan tray 3rd had failed because it was removed. So we had that in a screen capture, so we didn't notice it. So fortunately, we got caught in the review, and we came to know, like, while you are connecting to a terminal or issuing a command which is a remote system, you need to get the full output, analyze it. If it's something which is not optimal, you need to check on that. So you need expert help on that. Or if you are confident, you can go in that. But make it a point to check your entire output if you are showing some screen capturing. Okay, camera placement. We'll be demonstrating this. Prasad, can you please form in that? Thank you. It can keep it. Yeah. So what we did, when we first took an help from an SME, the video was about to connect some cables to some ports. So imagine this as a video player. So there will be some ports, we'll be connecting some cables. So we approached the SME, could you please help us with the video? It was not today. Why not? I'm not saved. So it's like, so the idea here is get a tripod or get a table, something. Don't hold the camera in your hand and take a video, because it's very difficult to hold a camera for 3 minutes, even if you have steady hands. So probably after a minute you will know, you will be so much like engaged in a video shooting process, your hand will start to shake. Use something like this. There are multiple adapters available now. You can stack up cameras like this. So what's the use of this? We faced, like, if it's a product video and imagine you are operating a DVD player. There are play buttons, pause buttons. You want to focus on that. So we would generally have the one camera to get a full view of the product, and we'll use a different camera to zoom in on the controls. So what's the advantage? It reduces your downtime. If you are working on a big product and it needs to be powered off for your video sake, we try to keep it minimum. This will give you 2 video sessions in one scope. So that's about it. Also, in some products we faced, like there is not much of space to put in your camera. You just can't. There is not much of space. So in that case, we will keep it in a corner, turn the video angle, take video from both tools. So you get a corner shot, you get a straight shot. Saves your time, but it's fully flexible. You cannot use this and go for a single tripod. Okay, the correct angle is 45 degree. What do you mean by correct? It's correct for our specific reasons. It might not be that correct for all, but it's a good point to start. What is the angle as such? This is purely based on what we faced, and it's not a general guideline as such. If you are video photographing this area and you are connecting some cables or operating on that, putting a tripod directly straight above doesn't serve the purpose. You will be blocking the product, you will be blocking the ports. So what we did, we put the camera in a 45 degree angle from the product, and the operator took a 90 degree gap from the camera. So you are on 45 from the what you will be shooting, the camera is on the 45 degree angle. So it's like a like in this way you get the product and the operator hands getting connected. This is your starting point. You can move little further here, little further there, doesn't matter, but we preferred like that. Okay, mobile phone adapter. This is a cutting edge tech. Everybody wants to use mobile phones or tabs. So I just wanted to confirm there are tools available to hold your phone. Forget your hands. Hands are not good for video. You can remove the camera here. You can add this in the tripod. It holds. And it gives really good quality video. You won't even notice like it's not a like dedicated video camera. So these are available for iPads, iPhones, all the phones, depending on the size. Take your phone, fix it, put it in a tripod. Take the video. You will be amazed to see the results. Okay, second part, lighting. We're not doing a movie here, still lighting is important. Why? Use additional lights when needed. So we did the mistake. We took our camera with SME, with the script. We went to the lab and found it's not very well lit. So what to do? Prepare for that. There might be scenarios where your camera would be able to manage the light, but in some cases you need additional lights. So Prasad. Thanks. Yeah. So when you main video lights, if you go into a photography store, you find thousands of options. There are very expensive options too, which connects to your camera. There will be some battery pack like this. It will give you lights. But we chose a very simple option. Go for lights like this. It can be either battery operated or electrically operated. Go in for a pair. You can also stack it one by one. These are available in your local electrical store. So going for this, use the light, don't capture the light source. The idea is capture. It happened. So in a camera, only the lights are visible. The product was almost gone. Okay. There will be scenario where you need reflectors. So we ended up making these reflectors from cardboard and normal pantry aluminum foil. We took some aluminum foil, some for the pantry, because there was absolutely no time. We had to do it because the SME will go for a PTO, for an out of office for Sunday. We had to do it. So run to the cafeteria, get some aluminum foils, make the light. So the idea is what it does. It reflects your light.
He's covering real scenarios.
It reflects your light. So your reflector, if you buy for 5,000, doing for something, it's not going to change. It still reflects the lights, okay? So this goes for a reflector. You also might need something called a diffuser. So what is a diffuser? A diffuser which diffuses the light. If it's a very bright, shiny metal object you are trying to videograph, then you need to cover this light source. Use a normal grocery plastic bag. It will do. Just need to cover the front so that the direct light doesn't illuminate that, and you'll not get the glare as such. Okay, one more thing before we move into the audio. If you are interested in a video and you're not very comfortable with the video equipment, there would be somebody in your team who is like a die-hard photography fan. He will be like, they will be knowing it. So my point is, there are a lot of things, there are enough controls here to explore for a couple of months. So if you're not very comfortable, just play around, Google, know your tool, know your software, know your tool, know where you will be shooting in. It doesn't take long, but it gives good results. For animation and screen recording, get the resolution correct. Color balance, resolution, very basic stuff, but still works. Okay. Audio. Do you feel audio is required for the video? If I switch it off, just show it. It's required, right? It's a common fact. So we did a experiment. We tried to go ahead and record the audio with the video in the lab. It didn't work out. So there was people passing by. Oh, this video shooting is going on there. We let it stand for 5 minutes. It was not working. So what we did. Pardon?
We'll have to wrap up.
Yeah. So just before we wrap up, there's separate the audio and video creation process. It's like record the video, create the audio in a recording equipment, use the software to merge, use the optimal settings for the record. So when you're recording, choose your highest settings, going for that. Generally, audio for animated video is created separately. You cannot, because your animation will take more than a month, and your video audio will not take that long. Do it like that. For screen recording, use some decent tools. Don't go in for you directly speak to your laptop and record the audio. Get some decent tool for that. Okay, I'll request Prasad to continue with the results.
Thanks, Ryan. So these were some of the key results. Inclusion of video into information system help customer to better understand the complex scenarios. Less queries from customer support team about the products and the features covered through videos. And also significant increase in the customer feedback rating. And of course, you'll always be delightful to watch how many views your video has and the number of likes your video is getting. These are some of the challenges involved in video creation. You need to set aside sufficient time for planning, including the last minute changes. Select the proper project phase to create the video. This is a very important point. If your product is very stable, then beginning of the phase you can create a video. But if it is a new product altogether, so you might consider doing it at the end of the testing phase, because you don't want to release a buggy video to customers, right? Focus on audio quality and recording equipment. Ian has covered this point. Impact of post-release changes in the product and the features. It's not like you just create a video and publish on YouTube, but there are post-release changes that might be involved, so you need to take care of that. Get necessary approval from lab authorities for shooting the video. This is the scenario that we faced, because we had to, this was totally a bottleneck for us. Now the system is in place. so we learned it hard way. Set up the centralized control mechanism. Imagine a team of 200 writers working on various videos. So you need to set up a centralized mechanism wherein something like an internal portal where the inventories of videos is created, and we can get to know if any video is getting duplicated or redundant. Don't forget the cost. This is a very important point, be it hardware, software, resources, time. And we are thankful for our organization to believing in us and getting the required equipment. And these are some of the references you are always welcome to see our YouTube channel and the tech library that we have. There are various resources available. So that's it about our journey on video. We are thankful to STC to giving us this opportunity to share our knowledge here. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prasad and Ayan. And on behalf of STC, as a token of appreciation, I'd like to offer you this memento and certificate.